You're alive.
Hockey Nation fans, welcome back to the Hockey Nation live show with Coach Frenchy directly in the booth and Michael Devellano somewhere, somehow in California. Good morning. Happy Sunday, Michael.
Good morning. We have so much action, but still a lot of names on the board.
Yeah, I think the last time, if I remember, and I apologize, I could be wrong, but I believe we spoke together Friday during the beginning of the UFA free agent. Then you have to laugh after maybe 30, 45 seconds, all right?
Yep.
So since that, we talk about almost 48 hours, and it's almost many teams have a new roster for the upcoming season. It was so much is going on left and right. If you follow all the signature, but also all the trade, we don't get a lot of trade, but very important trade. I believe at least one or two, and great couple of great big signature from different teams. So we're going to go through this morning. We try to simplify the show for about max 1 hour today and come back tomorrow. But we have so much to talk about. Everything I know you follow everything during the weekend, and I'm sure you have your comments about different things. So I'm excited to be together this morning. And
Yeah, me too.
by the way, just let you know to be sure because we are on the stream yard, so we try to just see a couple of things when what's going on. But Michael, I can confirm we are also live right now on the Hockey Nation on the YouTube channel. So welcome everybody over there. If you have any comments, please just give us your comments, and we're going to follow up with you. And then also don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and also on the Facebook page called Hockey Nation Live Show. So Michael, let's go back a little bit back to the last time we spoke about trade. We was Friday, and then honestly, three trade happening this weekend. And let's start with the one again. Ottawa Senator, look, they are involved with many things during the last 5-6 days. They trade with the Nashville Predator, and they got I think it's a lot of debt, honestly, for the sharp, for the third, fourth line, more for the fourth line. Austin Watson, and
Yeah.
in return, Nashville get the 4th-round pick 2021. For my side, and I want you to get your comments. I believe Ottawa increased the body, and they get a little bit more bigger and more physicality behind everything. But I think for Nashville, they drop a lot of money. I don't know what their intention are, but you can see after Bonino, you can see after buy out Kyle Torres, and now we talk about Austin Watson. Honestly, maybe you can look. I don't remember the salary of Austin Watson. Maybe I believe it was about 3 million. I could be wrong, but if
Yeah,
it's the
years,
case,
I think he got $1 million a year.
I'm sorry.
I think he got to. For some reason, I think he was making $1 million a year.
Again, I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not remember, but I think for me, for the Nashville, I believe this is only another one where salary cap drop
Well,
more.
that's right. He had a 3-year, $1.5 million deal. He was just about to start.
Okay.
So it's $1.5 million. Oh my God. I don't know why it's
Now, could you remind me something? And maybe I'm could be wrong. Did Austin Watson have some problems, something
lot.
going on for the last
A
couple of
lot of
years?
problems.
Okay, so I apologize. I remember, but I cannot mention. I cannot.
Yeah, he had substance abuse problems off the ice, I think,
Got it.
right? And then he was in the substance program, but then he also was charged with domestic battery.
Okay.
And I guess the girlfriend or wife spoke up and said, "We're both pretty bad. We have a problem between the two of them where they're both physical with each other." And so I think he had a suspended sentence. And I think he's worked with that. I really like him on the ice. Like, he's a big guy. He actually has pretty good hands. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets a bigger opportunity in Ottawa. And, I think he's got to obviously keep his stuff off the ice together. Like, hopefully he's getting the help he needs. And as his wife, girlfriend, I can't remember which one it is, but it's, he's not young. Like, the guy's 28 now.
Yeah. It's not a Tom Wilson, but I think it's a prototype of Tom
He's
Wilson.
the same type of player. Like he's very similar. Tom Wilson obviously has a little bit more offense, but I don't know. Like I always wondered if he was on a different team, what would happen with Austin Watson, because he can score.
I believe sometimes, I think some players changing the decor, changing the place and a new chapter of their life. And when you have some problem like that, I think that's very good. I think that's what I'm excited for Bobby Ryan with Detroit. Yeah, I know you're not there with him.
I don't think that was his issue. I mean, he's got serious, off ice demons to deal with. Like,
but again, if you remember, I recall Mike Hoffman. Mike Hoffman, he was struggle in Ottawa, a lot of trouble.
That was a weird situation with the wives. Like,
so now he's in Florida, have a good 2 years over there. But I'm not saying Watson's going to be 30 goals. No, that's not what I'm talking about.
He had 14 goals a couple years ago. So this year he only had 6 in 53 games, but 2 years ago he had 14 goals, and in the playoffs he was very good.
On the flip side, I will say to you, Ottawa Senator got a good player, and I think he will. And again, I don't want to compare to this guy because he scored 23 goals, but I think he would take the spot of Anthony Duclair. Not a top line, but a guy can be third line.
He's better than Anthony Duclair. Like Duclair's, screwed himself out of a position. I don't know if he'll probably play in the KHL or something.
I think it's another decision by himself to represent himself. That's something. And then what we don't know, I'll be honest with you, if he asks a $2.5, $3 million, I don't think so. With everything going on, Michael, in this league right now, 1.5, sign up, go 1 year, and restart everything somewhere else.
Well, I don't think anybody's going to give him. I don't know who's going to give him a chance. I mean,
I think so.
For him, Arizona already washed him out. Like, he was part of that group that they blew out. So I went
to Rangers prior to that.
Why? Rangers already have enough guys that are a problem.
No, he was with the Rangers before.
Oh yeah, right. Sorry.
Right. So from Arizona, he went to Ottawa, and now we'll see what's happening over there. So now let's move on to another trade before we talk about the big trade. A trade very interesting there. And again, I think it's another salary cap problem for Toronto. Not a problem, but they open up other things. So Toronto was really active the last couple of days, not on the big name, but more the depth and what they tried to shifting a little bit the mentality of maybe the way that teams want to get more, maybe copy a little bit what the Tampa did. So Toronto Maple Leaf trade with the New Jersey Devils yesterday, and they sent a good player. I think this player is behind everything's going on over there. Andres Johnson, and
everybody loves that guy.
Joey Anderson.
Well, Joey Anderson's a good player. So they didn't, it's an interesting move. Like, Joey Anderson is a little bit behind where Johansson would be, but he's a pretty tough kid. He can score a little bit on forward. He only got a little cup of tea, but he produced offensively. His brother, Mikey, is in Los Angeles and is a defenseman. So they come from a hockey family. I think that it was inevitable at $3 or $3.5 million that they were going to move Johansson, just based upon the fact they have 3 guys making $10 million on that team, and they want to make other moves to toughen up. So it's a loss. I mean, I think he goes to New Jersey, gets a real good opportunity. You got to give a lot of credit to Tom Fitzgerald. Like, if you add up his draft and the moves he's making, like, he's helping that team. So I really like what he's doing there.
I agree with you. I think that's
Corey Crawford signing came out of left field. Like, he stole one of the better goalies. He could turn around and flip him to a contender at the end of the year for a pick, and he solidifies the position. Like, Mackenzie Blackwood as a number 1 too. But going back to the Leafs, we saw them make some other moves. I like the Zach Bogosian signing. It's really inexpensive. I like the TJ Brody signing. It was a little more than I thought he would get, but he's a real good defenseman. I think he's in some ways an upgrade over Tyson Barrie defensively for sure. He's a bigger guy, and he has offense, and he can produce a little bit offensively. And then if Jake Muzzin's healthy, I mean, you got to suddenly look at that team. And if they got to re-sign Dermott, so that'll be interesting. They walked away from Gauthier, like he's a good fourth line guy. They don't have Kyle Clifford, which, you know, honestly, like Kyle may sign somewhere for similar to what he had before at 1.7. But if they could figure out a way to keep him, that would really help them because he's tough.
One you forgot also is I understand, but still, I think Wayne Simons.
Wayne Simmons, right? Another one.
Yeah,
I love Wayne. Everybody loves Wayne. Like he's a veteran guy. He's tough in front of the net, and he can score. Like I think his quote was the best quote. He goes, "I can knock your head off, or I can score goals."
Exactly. With that trade, that's a little bit more. Honestly, before everything start, I mentioned to you, Dubas confirmed like Anderson would be the goalie starting lineup as the starting goalie for the year. Then also, it was between, I believe it was between Johnson and Kerfoot. Who's going to keep and not keep, and I think Kerfoot bring more on the power play or on PK versus Johnson because you have to drop another $3 million to get about more space, and that was Dubas' message. You know, I follow a lot. The Sportnet Toronto area. You know what I mean? Like I'm always involved with what, and Dubas did a lot of press conference with TSN and Sportnet the last 2 days, and he mentioned more. He opened more his card. You know what I mean? He wanted the philosophy of Toronto changed a little bit, and also maybe it's a little bit more the way Shelton, Coach Shelton looking for. Does it make sense? Like it was a backup team all the way. Now you can see a couple of changing with the player, specific player, the specific role, and the good. I believe they are better today like it was earlier. We know Merson, you talk about this. So we say very interesting about the Toronto. Of course, we're going to go through all those teams because they have a lot of change. But let's move on. It was about 1 hour later, honestly, 70-minute later, where big trade between Colorado. And I want you really your comment about this. I will go after you because it's really interesting. I'm still not sure, but you're going to maybe give me some other information what I don't know, but Colorado Avalanche trade with the Chicago Blackhawks send Nikita Zadorov and Anton Lindholm, and Colorado get from Chicago Brandon Saad and Dennis Gilbert. Honestly, I would love you to. We already know Zadorov and Brandon Saad, but give us a bit more if you know Anton Lindholm and Dennis Gilbert. If you are really know them or whatever it is.
Not much. I mean, I've seen, you know, Lindholm got a little bit of action in Colorado. He mainly played in the AHL. He's seen as like a decent skater. He's kind of number 5 through 8 defenseman. You know, he can play a little bit. I think they thought he would be a little better than he's turned out, but he's not like a real. I mean, they've completely changed the way that D is. Like they're big and mobile, and he doesn't fit that mold. He's kind of weak compared to the other defensemen. Dennis Gilbert, I have not really watched play, to be honest with you. I don't know much about him.
I'm curious, is it like the son of Greg Gilbert or family?
I don't think so.
Okay. Again, this is just like a name came back in my head right now, but
I don't think so.
Okay. Now again, I don't want to put you on the bad position.
Yeah, no, I know Greg. Greg was Greg was one of my mentor coaches in Mississauga.
Really?
Yeah.
He played with Islanders, right?
Yeah, my cousin drafted him to the Islanders.
Yeah.
And he played a little bit in New
He
York.
was a part of the big game, at the big team during
that. Oh, yeah. No, he got like, I don't know if he got 3 or 4 Stanley Cups. I think he got all.
Yeah.
And Greg was a redhead, like fiery guy, but he was really good to me. Like I remember the first time I really talked to Greg, which is an offside, but I would go and watch his practices in Mississauga, and I learned a lot from him. And I the first time I went, it was in Hershey Center in Mississauga, and I'm like, "Do you mind if I walk your practice?" And his answer was, "I don't give a fuck." I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm watching him." So I watched the practice. I learned so much, And then when we see him later, he goes, "Are you Devellano?" I'm like, "Yeah." So we talked about that, and he goes, "I got boxes of stuff," and he said, "Come by and get anything you want." And then Mario Chiquilo was another really, he's always been a good friend, and he was his assistant coach, and they had Alex Pieterangelo. So Alex went from our junior Canadians organization to Greg's team in Mississauga. So it was an interesting time, but I don't think they're related. This kid's got a brother, Patrick Gilbert, but I don't know them.
So, honestly, that dream is more about 1-versus-1, Nikita Zadorov versus Brandon Saad.
It's weird. Yeah, like Zadorov's very inconsistent, and that's, I think, was frustrating to Colorado. They don't need him because they have Bo Byron coming up. Like if you look,
I like the words. You said one words, and that's what I like for you. I think you nail it, Michael. It's inconsistency about him.
Yeah. Sometimes he's gonna he's the best guy on the ice, and then other times he's like really erratic, and he's a big guy. He's like 6'5", 225. He can hurt you, and he has a little bit of offense, but he just doesn't bring it the same way all the time. It's weird. Brandon Saad, I love Brandon Saad. Everybody loves Brandon Saad. He keeps getting moved. I think like he was part of the Panarin trade back, so it's like he went to Columbus, and then they got him back from Columbus as part of the Panarin trade, which was probably stupid. Like, you should have kept Panarin. What were you doing? But Brandon's, making $6 million. He's a 20-goal scorer. He's a big, strong 20-goal scorer. He can play wing or center. I think he really helps Colorado. He gives them a very versatile player. But they still have like $9.8 million in cap room. They have like one guy.
That one, Michael, Chicago get $1 million pay.
Then he got back $1 million, so it works out. So now he's a $5 million player on Colorado. So it works pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. I think Colorado, first of all, have a lot of space cap. A little bit surprised about the goalie situation, to be honest with you. I thought they are and I want to talk about a little bit more. They are a little bit on the subject talking about Taylor all over there, but still, Colorado have a more space cap. I think Zadorov bring physicality on the team, but when you have, Girard, Makar, Johnson, and then you have Ryan Graves over there.
But Bo Byram.
And now Zadorov become a 5 or 6 over there, right?
Oh, he doesn't even get in the top 6 when Byram gets added. Like, Byram is as good as Cale Makar.
So when you get those players, now I think Sad fix maybe a top 6 problem at Colorado. So at the end of the day, the Zadorov is a bigger name because what he accomplished, what he can hurt, everything like that. But at the end of the day, the situation Colorado on that trade are helping them, I think, a little bit more and one more pushing for what they want to accomplish. My concern with Colorado is more about the goalie situation. A little bit surprised about that one over there, but still, we'll see what's going to happen over there. But let's move on to the senior. We can go here. All the players got signed yesterday, and by the fact, let's move on. We're going to go from today, right now, until happening at the beginning, and then you can see right now we just got an update about Dallas Star. Can you see my sharing screen right now, or?
Yep, Radek Faksa.
Yep. So Radek Faksa, 16.25 million, 5-year contract, 3.285 per year, 26. I think he's a top 9 for sure. Play a great role. Become a little bit of two-way players.
Big middle.
I don't know. I don't see he's a Philip Dano, but I think he's
the same type of player. Like he's always been a really reliable two-way guy. He's bigger than Dano. He's like 6'2", 6'3". He can score a little bit. Like he's a real valuable player. Kills penalties.
Yeah,
he can flex up to the second line.
I really believe they missed him at the last playoff series against Tampa. We saw him. I think it was a wrist problem, broken wrist. Maybe is it him?
Yeah, I think he busted his wrist. He broke his wrist. He had a knee injury too.
Yeah, the second signature is a minor one. Is Joel L'Esperance. Honestly, I have no clue, Mister L'Esperance in French, but
Yeah.
maybe you know him more than me. But I don't know clue. He's already at 25, so his guy may be playing an EHL for Austin Star. Austin Star. I don't have the stat in front of me, but that's maybe what's going on over there. Honestly, let's move on a little bit about the big name. What I can see on that one, a 2-3. It's a Trevor Van Ristick
Oh, he's like
with
that's
Washington.
JVR's brother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
800,000
Hey,
at 29.
the first guy what led the AHL team. He played at Michigan Tech, and he led the AHL team with 25 goals in 58 games, and he played 21 games in the NHL. So actually, he might be a good 2A, like a call-up guy, but we'll see. Maybe he makes the team. Anyway, sorry.
Toronto get a big one over there. I think that's a one I want you to hear more because I think it's really. I think we did not give him a lot of credit what he did, but again, it's not like a top 3 here. But I think it's a good signature for Toronto for what they're looking for. It's more like the security, like more security behind everything. So Zach Bogosian signed contract $1 million like for Toronto yesterday. I think it's a good ad for the Toronto.
I think it's really good. He's a big body. He showed in the playoffs he can play good minutes still. He was a high draft pick. He was drafted ahead of Alex Pieterangelo for Atlanta, but he can play. Like, he blocks shots at timely moments. He's physical. He's a steadying influence. I thought he played well in Buffalo. He's not a bad defenseman. He doesn't have the offensive upside that you wished he would have had. But, that reality aside, he's a great guy that'll solidify the third pair.
You agree with me with the time, some players changing the way to play hockey. Maybe it was recognized a little bit more like an offensive player, or the people was waiting more from him to become that player. And then with time, he become more the defensive one, and body check and physicality in front of the net, everything like that. So I think that's the way he should be. He became that kind of player.
He became that right away. Like, you could see early on he wasn't what they guessed he would have been, but there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I think the problem with him when he was drafted, like, long time ago, was he was mentored by Ray Bork, and
yeah, you're right.
Ray Bork, but it's not fair. Nobody's Ray Bork, and he definitely wasn't. So
yeah, I agree with you on that one. The next one I want to talk about is the big one. I think it's just a bridge contract because he's only 26 and he expect more the following year to become a UFA. But Brandon Montour got $3.85 million. I think it's fair for everybody on that one. I think he's a solid top 4 players.
Yep. I like him. He's a right shot defenseman. I really liked him like years ago when I first saw him. Oh my God, the sun in this room. With Anaheim, and he's got offense. He's a top 3-4 guy, right shot defenseman. He skates real well. He's from Brantford, Ontario. He's able to produce at a high level at the NHL. He can play in the power play. And he's saying, listen, I think I'm worth a bunch of cash. He has some, to prove a little bit. But I think that he's going to be a real good player, like, for them. And, he was going back to Anaheim. Oh my God, this fucking thing is like ridiculous. So,
yeah,
blind here. He was, they traded a lot to get him in Buffalo. Like, they traded a first-round pick, which ended up being Braden Tracy from the WHL, and he's a pretty good prospect. And then Brendan Gould, which you saw his brother Caden get drafted to Montreal. And I think Brendan had injury problems last year and will be pretty good for Anaheim, but he's a good player. He's worth 3.8. And I guess the question is, does he ever get a long-term next year? Really, this is a show-me season for him.
I agree with you. By the way, we just got an update. I switched with TSN. Did you see TSN right now?
Yep, Forbart.
Derek Forbart got a 1-year contract UFA with Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg Jets got a couple of players like that. If you, they got also Nate Thompson yesterday. We're going to go through that list over there. I don't know if you see also Paul Ledu, Johan Larson, CJ Suez. If you know some player you want to talk about.
Ledu was a pretty good defenseman. He was in the LA system. He can skate. I think they thought he would make the team at some point, but now they had some guys that really emerged ahead of him last year, so they don't really need him. So it didn't surprise me. What was the one that was just signed? Was Forbot was also in LA. He's a big guy. He doesn't skate amazing. He's decent defensively. He played a lot with Drew Doughty, believe it or not, but he's had injury problems. I like the Nichushkin signing. I don't know how much they signed him for. I'm guessing it's not that much. He didn't get points in the playoffs, but I think he's a really useful player. He's big. He's talented, and he just has the curse of Jaromir Jagr saying he could be the best player in the game one day.
Yep. Then another player that Toronto got, Travis Boyd. I think this is a good one for them.
It is. He's a gritty guy. He's a two-way player. He's played on a Stanley Cup winner, right? He played with Washington.
Then Buffalo got Cody Aiken. Aiken was with Vegas, but he got traded somewhere before that.
He's had injury problems. He scored 20 goals a couple years ago. So he started out in Dallas. He was traded to Winnipeg.
Yeah.
So he if he can stay healthy, he had 22 goals and 41 points 2 years ago with in 18-19.
Yep.
He can score, and he's had 19 goals and 16 goals and 11 goals. He can play. He's a really useful two-way guy. I think it's a great signing for Winnipeg. It's pretty reasonable for a guy that can get you 15, 20 goals.
No, I think you just misunderstand, but he's with Buffalo now.
Oh, sorry. Buffalo. Yeah. I think he left Winnipeg.
Yeah.
He actually would have helped Winnipeg if they kept him.
Yeah.
They could have afforded that.
The next one, I want you to talk a little bit about him, Jesper Fast. Talk a little bit more, because I think he was played, but not the level he was supposed to play. Maybe I'm right or wrong, but
I don't know. I like Jesper, but I don't know what he's getting up there now a little bit. But he's fast. He's tough. He can score 12, 15 goals. He's a good player. So let's look. He came from the Rangers system. He didn't have a bad year. He had 12 goals and 17 assists.
Yeah,
that's what you want from Jesper Fast. He's a right shot guy. He plays like Carl Hagelin, and they basically at some point walked away from Hagelin, and he took that role in the Rangers. But the Rangers, I don't know what they're remaking that team, obviously with a lot of talent, but I like him. He's a gritty, fast guy, Swedish, good signing.
Now, if we go a little bit lower, we can see Louis Domingue. He's been around since he left Tampa. So
in the goalie department.
So he did not do well since he left Tampa. He's swinging from team to team, but we'll see what's happening over there. Calgary need a third one in case something could happen. The big one I want to talk about, it's Kevin Labanc, or whatever you call the last name.
This guy led the OHL in scoring at one point. So he won the OHL scoring title. He goes to San Jose. He's kind of a weird player. He's like a 5'11", not super fast, but he's smart, right? Racks up some good points. He signs a $1 million contract last year. I was like, what the hell? And he goes, well, I'm doing the team a favor. And they've done him a favor back, because this contract is where he should have been at 4.7. But if you look at the way it's structured, I think he ends up at over $5 million in the last years of the deal.
Yeah.
But he's a good player. He can play on the power play. He's a good two-way guy. He's probably he had 17 goals, I think, last year, or 14 goals. And then he, let's see what he had last year. He can, he's a pretty good playmaker in the right circumstance, as long as you got guys with him that'll finish. So his last year of the contract, last 2 years, he gets 5.87. And I think he's got plenty of capability. He had 14 goals, 19 assists, 33 points this year. last year, 17 goals, 39 assists, 56 points.
Yeah, but good year last year, the year before.
But he can play, and he's more of a playmaker in my experience. That's, his numbers were down on the assist side, but I think that's more of a reflection of San Jose. He, he's a 45, 50-point guy, and he got the money back that he gave up last year.
The next two I want to talk about Edmonton Oilers. I want you to give us because Mike Smith, the retired guy who came still alive with 41 years old now, got a surprise $2 million. I don't know why $2 million, but that's another story. And
he had 19 wins last year, Pierre.
What?
He had 19 wins last year.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like he was not the lucky look what he did in the playoff, everything like that. I don't think so. He's a solid number one goalie.
No, he's not. But they don't have number one. They have two number twos, like two, 1B guys.
So that might bring my point to you right now. I want you. Why Oilers did not look for a goalie? Why did not
they thought they were going to get Markstrom. They were trying really hard to get Markstrom, but they should have gone all in on Markstrom and put a lot of cash on the table. He goes to Calgary instead. So that's a miss. I think Ken Holland was, I don't know. I'm not sure what happened there. But, to go back to Mike Smith, I'm not in love with him. I mean, he's not ideal. He had a 903 save percentage, I think, or something, and 2.95 goals against. He was an improvement over what they had before. He's better than Cam Talbot, and Cam Talbot had 3.25.
So my point to you, if you think about this, you add almost $3 million, he can get old B for 2 years, and you're a better situation like right now. When you have a solid team like them, I mean, that's what I don't understand. Allen completely messed this one. Honestly, he messed completely this because they need a solid
He was swinging for the fences with Markstrom, and he didn't have a backup, right? Like, I think it is what it is. I think they were comfortable going back with Mike Smith. Dave Tippett knows Mike Smith and really likes him. He had him in Dallas, and I think he had him in Arizona. So he knows the goalie and he trusts him. So
Corey Crawford can be there too.
Well, this is why I say New Jersey stole the show.
I think you could also add trade for Matt Murray. Was case.
I know he missed you could have got Matt Murray for nothing.
Yep.
Like, they got Matt Murray for nothing. Now they could never, but could they sign him at 6'2"? I'm not sure.
Yeah, they signed him by now $5 million per year, $25 million.
No, it's 6.
So let's move on to that.
It's not 5 here. It's 6.25. So can you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Right? What happening is it was 5-5, right? That it was announced this way, and then what happening? They keep this contract he has right now with Pittsburgh for 1 more year. So this year he get the same contract it was with Pittsburgh, but then his new contract of 4 years, 6.25.
He doesn't have any contract.
What?
He was restricted free agent. So he signed 4 years, 6.25.
But don't start this year. That's my point.
No, it does start this year.
No.
He's restricted free agent. Look at his numbers, Pierre.
It was mentioned to everybody it was pushing 2021, 2022. That's what I read about him.
It's 2021 is the first year of the contract at 6.25. But that's what I'm saying. I guess Edmonton could have afforded it because they were going after Markstrom.
I'm not sure again about Mike Murray at 6.25, be honest with you. When you have all those anyway. So that's a story about what I mean? Like, the big game I want to talk about is Dyson Barrie with the Oilers Edmonton. I think there's a great signature. It's a 1 year, 3.75 minus $4 million. You talk about this, I talk about this. And I think it's good for everybody.
It helps them. They lose Clefbaum maybe forever. Like, people are saying I guess we're going to have to see. He's going to miss the whole year. He might not come back. He's had a lot of injury problems. And that was always my fear with him. I felt like maybe they should have, they were hoping he'd be healthy because when he's in, he's really good. So I think Tyson Barrie coming in, right shot defenseman. I don't love him defensively, but he gives them something they don't have on the power play. And that'll really help them. And
I agree with you about that one over there.
And then, they have Evan Bouchard coming up. Philip Broberg looked very good in the playoffs. Like Philip Broberg, people are sleeping on. Like he's going to be a cheap left shot defenseman on that team for a couple years. And he's 6'3", 6'4", skates like the wind.
I'm saying that's Roland Bear. He make a lot of mistakes on defensive side.
Who?
Bear? Is it Bear? Bear is
excellent. I love Ethan Bear. He did make some mistakes though. Like he got beat sometimes that were really critical.
He's more like an offensive player versus a defensive player. I would think so. I think that's I do see him a lot. You know what I mean? But I think that's what you know what I mean. Talking about Detroit.
He's young. Ethan Bear is going to be a real good defenseman.
I think you'll be happy about that signature. I really like him. Maybe, I think at 1.7 per year, there's a good signature from
really good
Detroit.
Madison, right?
He's a defense 5 and 6, but he can slip. You know what I mean? Or play a couple of games, or someone's got hurt. Top 4, solid defensive player, defensive side. I really like him. Overall.
No, we talked about him when he was in the playoffs. Like he's a real good skater. When you watch him, he can really motor. He's not that big, but they walk away from Madison Bowie. That didn't really work out for them coming from Washington. I was kind of hoping it would, but he's never really produced offensively, and he's a liability defensively. So now you get a guy that's good defensively, even though he's small, and he can move the puck. So I think it really helps Detroit. It's a low-key way to improve them. I love the Thomas Greiss signing. Like, I think that it's funny because I was in the back of my head. I'm like, I hope they get Thomas Greiss for a couple of years, and he got him for a great number.
He's had agree with you about that. I think it's a good signature for them. Really about that. Let's move on quicker. We have a lot, and then we have 15 minutes. Jordan Greenway resigned with the Minnesota Wild. Is bottom 6 for them. 2 years contract, $2.1 million. I think is good. He's a little bit like. Not a Wayne Simon, more like I don't know, Devin T. Smith or Billy Smith. Like defense.
He's better than he's 6'5", 6'6" now. He's a monster kid. He's a U.S. development player, I believe. Yeah. I recall, like he played. I'm trying to think of the group that he played with, but he's 23, 24 now.
It was just before Matthews.
You think he was before Matthews, or was he that group?
I think he was before that. I think he was McEnvoy, and Werenski and those kids.
And he played at Shattuck too.
Yeah. So anyway, so I think it's good trade. I think it's good to have him. I think it's good trade for Minnesota. A good signature for Minnesota. Yeah. I want to talk about the big one. The next two one. I first want to go with Boston. Then after that, you Detroit. Tell me about this one. Boston signed Craig Smith, 3 years contract, 9.3, 3.1 million. Now I'm always confusing with that Smith, with another Smith or Wilson. He came from Nashville, or he came from Colorado?
He came from Colorado.
Right. He was with Nashville.
No. He came from Nashville. Sorry. Okay. He's a 5-time 20-goal scorer. He's really skilled. He can play all 3 forward positions. He's not Colorado. Sorry. That's someone else. Is that Ben Smith you're thinking of?
Well, the year he was with Nashville, I have him and Wilson, I believe, and I'm always confusing both of them.
Yeah. No, he's way more skilled than Wilson.
He was not Cody Wilson.
No, you had what's his name? Kerry Wilson's son.
So anyway, he's a really good third line, I believe. He could pick up a couple of spots sometimes, second line, but I think he's a really good other line.
He's a very skilled player.
Yeah.
He can play all 3 forward positions. I think he flexes between second and third, like you said. Yeah. But he'll get you like 15 to 20 goals, and he'll get you like 20, 25 assists. And I really like it. Like, I think he'll play. If they don't end up with Taylor Hall or one of the big guns, this helps them a lot. I agree
with you. It's a good answer for them. First type of player, like they like to, he's not a Charlie Coy, but a type of player. He can play very well with Charlie Coy. and that line over there. I think that's a good answer for them. Let's move on with the goalie, Thomas Grace. Look, you know, I don't think so. We see Thomas Grace like good top goalie for one team. I don't know. He never been me a name with pick my like. Oh my God, I like this kid with this players. I don't know. I always been about him.
I would describe him as above average, right? Like he's not a superstar goalie. He's really good in a 1A, 1B scenario. He's got Jonathan Bernier there for another year. They don't really have a long-term goalie solution yet. He will get 38 to 42 games, and he'll be very solid. He'll be off some nights, and he'll be really good some other nights, but generally he's going to be very solid. He won't have a 2.02 like he did.
No, I agree with you. He's going to be a 270 right there. We thought that. I think, and I think you said this Friday or Thursday, we talked about Detroit a bit about because he was upset about Bobby Ryan and everything like that. They are on a transition, right? They are not ready to be that team, right? You expect a lot of expectation, right? They are still about 1 or 3 years before
they're still a ways.
Yeah, so I think for that moment, why spend a $5 million or 4 more to a goalie? Will not change anything right now at that moment. I think overall, I think Eisenman was smart. Good move from the team right now. Say, you know what? We can have a couple of bodies right now go through for the next 2-3 years. Let those get around whatever is like Grand Rapids or you know the draft, everything like that, grow left and right. But I think for me, that's the way I see this signature. I don't see him sign up again in 2 years. To be honest with you.
No, I think Stevie Yzerman said he only wants to sign guys to 1 to 2 year contracts.
Yeah.
It's a little bit disappointing to see how many older guys are there. Like it's, you know, they bought out Abdelkader. I feel like they should have bought out Nielsen. That's a big nut. That's their second highest paid forward, and he can't even score 10 goals in the NHL anymore. I think maybe he eventually gets bought out next year. But then you added Sam Gagner, you added Bobby Ryan. Like you've already got Helm, you've already got Filppula, you've already got Glendening. Like they're signaling that they're not going to let Rasmussen play. They're not going to let Veleno play, which I think Veleno might be beneficial 1 more year, you know, back and forth. They're not going to, you know, let Svechnikov grab a role. They signed Hirose, which is fine. I like him, but you're going to have 1 more year of a bunch of these old guys.
Yep. So let's move on. I was surprised to see. I thought at some point it was not Maxime Lagacé, but it was
Manny Legacy.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he's still playing, but no, it was not him.
He was one of the 9 Vegas goalies that 1 year.
Yeah. That's why. Frederic Goudreau after that is all good. But I want to talk about the next 4 the next 4 guys before we shut down the show for today. You mentioned him a lot. I think you're absolutely right. He deserved that money for what he did for this year. Andrei Burakovsky.
It feels high, but you know he's a real skilled top 6 guy, and he's shown that. He got the opportunity in Colorado, and he scored 22 or 24 goals, I think, for them. And I like him. I've loved him since Erie. He was Connor McDavid's winger, and I kind of thought Edmonton would have made a move for him when he, you know, and instead he goes to Colorado, and look what he did. Like if he had been on Edmonton, like would he have got 30 goals with Connor McDavid? Probably. He's a big body and he can skate and he's got lots of skill.
I go with you. He got a little bit more money, but one thing Joe Sakic is he'd been there, right? He knows the player, he knows the game, he knows what to work hard. So enough. You know, I think he deserved a little bit more money because for what he's understand, he's right now not a top 6 on the paper, right? He's a top 9 over there. He does a lot of the details of the game, the role model, like, you know what I mean?
I don't know, like he's like in their top 6 though. He's like their second line right winger, isn't he? Which I think that reflects that contract, right?
Yeah. So yes, I agree with you. That's reflect his contract about that one there. But that's maybe the one can be 9 if with Brandon Sad, everything like that, depend how they put their players together. But I think that anyway, at the end of the day, he did very good season, and his 2 years were good for everybody, both teams.
Here's a great line for their second line. You got Kadri, Burakovsky, and Saad. Holy smokes. That's a good line.
Yeah, I agree with you, that one over there. Though the next one, let's move on with Corey Crawford. Good signature for both. First of all, Crawford maybe at the end of the end after that one. I think that's maybe his last contract, maybe considered with 1 year contract at the time. And he's going with a good team, is on the direction to become a good team in NHL. Maybe not this year, but it will be close. I think now with those changes, I think Kevin Palmieri will stay there, and 25 goals to 30 goals. And this Shaker, not only the backup, he's going to split. I really believe, like you said, that's another place where he can get 40-40 or 45-35. Blackwood, every kind of that. Give a good mentors, a good one can help Blackwood to understand and grow more maturity like that. So for me, under $4 million, you are, I agree. I think we're going to go through next couple of days to, the winner of the UFA team, like that. We have to put the top best 3 right now in New Jersey.
Yeah, New Jersey's. I really like what New Jersey did at the draft, as I said, and this is another example. Like, he probably got more in New Jersey than he got anywhere else. He probably got an extra year that other people weren't thinking of giving him. He looked very good in the playoffs, and he's got a young goalie there that is, potentially be a top 10 or 15 goalie in the NHL. They've got to buy some time because I think they'll keep Palmieri, and then they've got Gusev. They're a little older, but then you've got Heeshire, Bratt, you've got Jack Hughes will hopefully take a step forward, and hopefully PK Subban has a bounce back year. So I think they're looking at that, plus the young guys that are coming up, like Holtz was a real good pickup. And then they got the two-way forward there, whose name I always forget from the Q, Dawson Mercer. So I don't know. I think they did a lot of good things. And what's interesting is they drafted Nico Dawes. So Nico Dawes in 2 years might be ready to be in the NHL. You never know. He's a big goalie, and he's always been a very competitive guy.
But again, in 2 years, you may be the end of the end for Corey Crawford.
Right.
So I think that's Nico Dawes, not only on the ice, but overall, I think
great pickup.
did a great job with it. And the next one, a little bit surprise for me. I think Calgary has tried to steal all the players from Vancouver, but that's another story. But Chris Daniel,
what a great signing! Jeez,
I think we don't give him a lot of
he's not flashy, right? Like, he's a real good teammate. He's very, very, very good defensively. He can skate well, but he's not going to give you great offense. He's a good penalty killer. He plugs a hole there. They lost Brody, and that probably replaces him.
Right, that's also Armonic.
Well, yeah, no, I think, yeah. But I think then you look at Shillington will probably get more ice. If Juuso Valimaki is healthy, you've got a top 3 defenseman. Easy, maybe top 2.
I think it's a good shooter to have $4.5 million. I think it's good for Calgary. The Shaker, Jacob Markstrom in the net at 6.5, I believe. I could be wrong. I think I 6.5. 2 good signatures from Calgary. One, he was missing. One, there was a big hole. He was there without Brody now and Armonic. Armonic didn't sign nowhere yet, but I don't think so. He will be back over there.
No.
It's a good trade it's a good signature for Calgary. I think they still believe they need a little bit more, one more forward, but can talk more about this. Now, we want to make the big one there because I will shift us to another talking, and we have to close everything. Torrey Crook signed a big contract of 7 years with Blues, $45.5 million, $6.5 million. That's the end of Alex Pieterangelo with
I think so.
Point Blues. We're never going to be, and please don't consider both of them.
Not the same, man.
That is same player right there. But I think with him is a great left defenseman where Pieterangelo was play, and I think that would bring offensively. Crook has always been good players, but defensively not the same kind of player as Pieterangelo. They would
Like,
need a bit more from other the quadrior defenseman they have, Patico, and is it Justin Falk or is it just?
yeah, so if you look at it, they're giving 6.5 to this guy and 6.5 to Falk, and they wouldn't give 8 or 9 to Pieterangelo, your captain. So I don't get it. It makes no sense in my mind. I think Falk only had 16 points last year. So for an offensive defenseman, he didn't look that great. And Krug is obviously he can get you 10, 15 goals, and he can get you 40, 55 points, but he's small. Neither one of those guys is Alex Pieterangelo. I don't understand how that helps that team. They have a bunch of junk on that roster they could have gotten rid of. They should have bought out Tyler Bozak. They should have bought out Alex Steen and kept Pieterangelo, not worried about Torrey Krug. And they gave too much money to Justin Falk on the downside. I don't get it.
Yeah, that was another one mistake there. See what happened over there, honestly. But
playoffs. Is Tarasenko going to be healthy?
My biggest concern with St. Louis when I was only one player, Jordan Billington.
Well, that's another big problem. They traded away Jake Allen. Who's the other goalie?
I don't know. Maybe Gum Worsley.
Well, he would be better than Air.
But let's move on, finishing with that part over there. The signature Torrey Crook gave now we almost shut down the Alex Pieterangelo after 12 years with the Blues and as a captain, everything like that. Now, the biggest question, or at that moment, Pieterangelo is in Vegas with his wife, visiting the team, visiting not said because they visit or that he's going to sign with them. It's it's something happening usually more in June when you have more time, everything like that. They have a chance to visit the facilities, the town, and things like that. To do that now, Vegas have to move one or two players for sure. They will have to remove at least Fleury and maybe another big name or another maybe another contract of defenseman. But anyway, short story. Do you believe Pieterangelo is going to be a Vegas Golden Knight the next 24, 48 hours?
I still think Toronto's in this mix. I think Toronto's making a low-key run at him. It's going to be less money, but there's that hometown pull, and you see guys like Wayne Simmons going there for that reason. And I think the moves that they've made signal that, hey, man, you come in here, you're the top dog. You got lots of help on D with Bogosian. You got lots of help with Jake Muzzin and Morgan Riley. We'll make a decision on Travis Dermott, come back to Toronto and win a cup, and then you can go get a big contract again. I really think that's a legit pull. I don't know who else is talking to him, but Vegas for sure. Is Colorado in the mix? Are they thinking Taylor Hall still? They don't really need him, right? But
yeah, I think the front runner is really Vegas. For me, I think he's almost there.
For sure. I think Vegas got a lot of stuff you got to be worried about.
I would say the runner up behind this, Florida Panthers.
Have they offered him anything?
They are in the race, but I think Toronto is done with Pieterangelo. I think so. That's personally.
They just dumped Johansson.
What?
They just dumped Johansson for nothing.
Yeah, but it's not good enough. They have to do other moves if they want to do it. Everything is possible.
Like I said, he would take less money to go to Toronto.
I would say is maybe Florida Panther are in the mix about one if he's not going to go there. Yeah, not many teams anymore. I don't see a big surprise, but we'll see happening. But let's finishing with.
Is there anyone else? Who is he talking to?
No, I did not see anything else so far. Team mentioned, or it was only what I read for the last 24, 48. It was Vegas, Toronto, and Florida.
Oh, Florida. That's a weird one.
Yep. The next one over there, and finishing with this one, is Taylor Hall. I'm surprised how quiet it is about him and do you believe, and that's my question to you, because all did not go nowhere yet. It's holding everything from Toffoli, Dadonov,
Oh, everything.
and Gremlin.
He's gonna set the price for everyone.
Okay.
Like all those guys will pop as soon as he does, because people that lose out on him. I mean, we've heard as many as 24 teams called and 10 had serious discussions. So he's looking at a lot of opportunity. I would love to see him go to Colorado. I think just based upon what they have, that would finish it off. And they might have to move a guy out for that. But I mean, if he went there, like Boston, I think is really serious though. I do believe that Boston is like up there in the discussion. He probably has some.
That's right. Update. Breaking news.
Oh my God! I had
signed Nemestikov, 2 years contract, $4 million, $2 million.
Great deal.
Contract. You just said earlier, Detroit looking only for 2 years contract, and it's another one they just did. Nemestikov is a good player. Again, he's not a guy who's going to make 60 points, but he fit in the mold of Detroit, what they want to accomplish.
I love it. I'm excited because I was looking at their roster and I go, man, Nemestikov would fit so well, but would they pay him $4 million? Because that was where he was at. He made $4 million last year. Yeah, he was in Tampa, right? Did Stevie Yzerman draft him? I think he did.
He was with Tampa at the beginning, but he was with
Colorado, but he was drafted by Stevie Yzerman.
Yeah.
His agent is Igor Larionov.
He went to Tampa to Ottawa.
Right, but he was drafted by Stevie. Igor Larionov is his agent. At least unless something's changed, he used to be. And he played in Sarnia in the OHL. I really like this signing for $2 million because he can get you 15 to 20 goals.
Yeah, top 9 playing power play player.
That's a great signing. This is like a Robbie Fabry type move. Like, I love the signing. That's a great deal.
Yeah. Let's finish with our. My question to you will be this way. One team you think is going to be, and one team you believe they are not on the picture, or it'll be a surprise for you know what, he can go there. What are they? The one you expect the team is going to be, or maybe the other, the favorite team, and then one team nobody talk a lot, or you know what I mean, what it could be.
I have a bad feeling about Boston. I don't like him going there, but I could see him going there. They have very good centermen. He's not, he showed when you give him an above average centerman like Nico Hischier as a rookie, he can really produce. So you put him with Bergeron or Krejci, and a real responsible two-way guy like that. I got this feeling about Boston. I think Colorado is where he should go. Like, I would love to see him in Colorado for a couple years. I think Calgary is a quiet possibility.
All right, I will finish this program that way, and then you're going to shake your head, but I would think it that way. I think you're right about Colorado. I think you're right about Boston, but I'm going to give you two teams could a little bit surprise you. Is Vancouver?
No, that doesn't surprise me.
And I would say the next one, Nashville Predators.
You know what? That's another very legit one. It's funny because I was thinking Vancouver in the back of my head. That would actually be interesting.
And then I would
Nashville totally get him.
Do you believe? And it's like we can talk hockey all day together. Just love it. Yeah, do you think? Do you think they have? I know they have two big RFA to sign up, Devin Dose and Pollock, I believe. But do you believe all could be, or Islanders can push for this kid, for this player?
Well, they're trying to move out Boychuk, I guess, to make room for something.
But but my question to you will be this way: do you think Taylor all fit on the Lamoriello and the style of Barry Trotz play hockey, coach hockey?
He would be totally fine. He would excel in that scenario, I believe, especially if Matthew Barzal is his center. because Matthew Barzal is nobody the level of Matthew Barzal, and Taylor Hall is. So
I agree with you because I don't think so. I know you said I don't think Under Lee is the type of player can be with him, and I don't think so. Lee should be top.
Everly's garbage
for Orlando. I don't like him, but he's more like a second line, 6 player, maybe 7, 8. But I don't think so. He should be on the first line.
You have a good point because those guys are buddies. Taylor Hall and Eberle are buddies. I don't think it's enough to pull him there. They would have to make a real, they'd have to move out some salary, which I'm sure they would totally do. Who's their other goalie?
Now they have to figure out something else. But by the way, do you think another way? I heard that rumor also was late by Pierre Lebrun on the, TSN have a trade inside or insider. What you call it? The program's called Insider. Anyway, trading insider or insider trading, whatever it is. They talk about Columbus.
Well, they would jump at getting Taylor Hall. Columbus is interesting.
Yeah, no, myself too. I was like, you know what? He's not a. It was Pierre Lebrun and Darren Drager that was talking on the YouTube channel, and you know me, I'm follow up everybody, and I was like, you know what? That would give me a red flag. So you know what? This is not a bad idea. This is not bad at all.
I think that if he's very serious about he wants to win a cup. He's not getting younger. He's a 91 birth year. Taylor wants to win. If he wants to win, he goes to Colorado or Vancouver. If he goes to the Islanders or Columbus, I still think they're a tier down from that.
Anyway, see, if he's going to Vancouver, I'm buying a channel to watch Vancouver all year long.
Already I'm buying a channel to watch them because they have studly young players. Of 31 teams, that was my least favorite team, Pierre.
They're
bumped up, man. They're a good team. They got lots going on.
So, Hockey Nation fan, thanks to be here. I know we don't want to go all the way. We're over 1 hour here, but we'll have to. We just resumed a couple of days. What happened? We did not go live yesterday. We're going to go back tomorrow. Follow up, and don't forget to subscribe. Let us some direct message. We're going to follow you guys. And under Hockey Nation live show, Mike, another great, it's Sunday and we're showing up. That's amazing, and you're doing an amazing job here. I love you. That week is really because you bring a lot of your information.
Jay, I love talking to you about hockey. You do a great job, and I appreciate your energy and effort.
No problem. So thanks everybody. Have a great rest of Sunday, and we're going back tomorrow again. We try to go more and more StreamYard and follow up on Frenchy. We're going to become a little bit better and getting, I'm going to stop this one over there, but I think we're going to get better with that one over there and add more people. So thank you again, Michael. Have a great Sunday. I will see you tomorrow Monday. Have a good one, everybody.